Welcome back to Campaign Confidential. It's time to cut through the spin and hyperbole when it comes to the One Nation Party. I'm thrilled to be joined tonight by none other than One Nation Chief of Staff, James Ashby. James Ashby, welcome to the program. Looks like you're at the marina having some sundowners perhaps right now. Thank you for your time. I want to ask you first, one of the things we haven't managed to cover this evening is the coalition gas reservation policy, which is very contentious. You've had people saying it can't work, it can work, we need it, we don't need it, it's unfair market intervention. Tell me, James Ashby, what is your take on the coalition's plan to have an East Coast gas policy to keep some of that gas that comes out of the ground or here in Australia?
Well, we haven't exactly seen the detail of what remains to be implemented here by a coalition. However, we do know that market intervention could have been done a long time ago with the coalition when it came to the northwest shelf of Western Australia. They're the waters in which the federal government have some say over the gas because it's in Commonwealth waters. This comes as a little bit of a surprise to see federal government intervening on onshore gas because that's the responsibility of states, as we all know. But a domestic gas reservation policy has been in place with federal gas off the northwest shelf and the Bass Strait for a very long time now. The coalition had an opportunity in 2016 when the Callaghan review came out. One Nation were first elected to the Senate. We had begged the coalition for intervention when it came to gas. We could see what was happening with the shortfall in the country, and they ignored it. They had plenty of time to do it. But the only reason we're talking about gas, James, is because the coalition never had the strength to stand up against the UN and the Paris Agreement. It's not just Labor who support this when it comes to the Paris arrangements and net zero. This has been the coalition as well. We have had 100 years of being able to generate successfully power using coal-fired power stations, and now they want to turn that on its head. They want to intervene in the market. States were responsible for the generation of electricity across this country. But no, the federal government had to get involved. And now we've got this national energy market where you've got two layers of bureaucracy, state and federal here. And what are we doing? We're putting undue pressure on households because electricity prices are going up. We don't have the renewable energy. We don't have the gas in the market, and they want to denigrate coal, which has been successfully powering this nation for close to 100 years. The two major parties have got this wrong. One Nation have said, we want to see intervention, but not with renewables. Let's bring back coal-fired power stations. China, Europe and many other parts of the world are implementing these HELI, which is high efficiency, low emissions coal-fired power stations successfully around the world, and we're the fools that continue to shut down coal-fired power stations. The only source of energy that we've got an abundance of in coal mines, not just in Newcastle, but where I am here in central Queensland, at cheap prices. And we know that you don't have to intervene in the market to set a price because coal will always be the cheapest form of power generation in the country.
And you know, it's ironic that we're sending our own coal to go power so many of those HELI plants that are being built around the world. But I want to talk too about what are some of the other policies here. It seems to me that on some areas, certainly around migration and the fuel excise, it seems like the coalition is kind of stealing a bit of policy out of One Nation. What do you make of that? Do you guys feel like sort of the thought leaders in this campaign, or give us your take on the coalition's pinching some of your policies?
Well, look, they're playing catch-up, and, one could look at it as a negative that they're stealing ideas, but at the same time, it's also flattering. It's just a shame that it's taken so long for the coalition to come around to reducing the immigration, which has obviously had some huge impacts on housing in this country, but also too on the infrastructure. We know how long it takes to get into a hospital these days. We know how long people are sitting in gridlock traffic because the infrastructure just hasn't been kept up, and we've been using immigration as a Ponzi scheme to boost GDP because we've let other industries go to waste in the country, and so we've been falsely propping up our economy through high immigration. Sadly, it's only been bolstered by Labor over the last couple of years. Increases like we're seeing over 700,000 one year, 644,000 just last year under Labor. We don't know what the current figures are because they haven't yet come out. But the Coalition certainly saw 3.6 million people come into the country in their 9 years that they were in government as well. So it's great to see them catching up there. It's also good to see the Coalition catching up on things like saying no more foreign investment in housing. You're only competing with those Australians trying to buy a home for themselves. We're also seeing them finally catch up on implementing, new apprenticeship schemes that One Nation have had great success with when we held that balance of power. We're seeing them now suggest, like we have for a very long time, people being able to access their superannuation to get into the housing market. There are so many policies that have been taken. Thankfully, One Nation put ours out in February, on the 6th of February, so there's no confusion over where they came from. But what I'll say is if Peter Dutton has the success at this election, you can be sure we'll back those policies because there's something that we can agree on, and we will see common sense applied in the next form of government, whatever that may be.
And just very quickly, if the Coalition wins, they've said they're going to bring immigration down by 25%. Is there one thing that they could do to actually achieve that, because they haven't actually spelled out how they would do it?
Well, it's yet to be seen. The only way the Coalition will bring down those numbers is if One Nation hold their feet to a fire when it comes to balance of power. We've got to have accountability, whether it be in a Labor government or a Liberal government. They have both been guilty of high immigration in this country. So we've got to bring it down. We want accountability. We've got to bring more One Nation numbers to the Senate.
And James Ashby, we've got to leave it there because that's it for this week's Campaign Confidential. Thanks so much for joining me. Up next, Danica and George, and enjoy that. Danica and James after the break.